Red what?
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Big Apple Hockey. It's a little bit of a special episode today on a Tuesday because we're about to hit the Christmas break just like the NHLers are, and we've got a lot on our plates. I, of course, am your host, Mark Williams. Delighted to be back, and there's my banner right there. I'd rather see this one all the time. Joined by the host of the Final Buzzer, Mr. John Filkowski.
Yeah, holiday break. We saw some action before the trade freeze. A couple of deals that we'll talk about and a couple of things that will happen around the league. But just wanted to say happy holidays to everyone. Thankful for everyone who has been following us since the beginning and all of our new fans as well. But, wishing all of you, guys, girls, Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Please just one thing, just do not drink and drive. I have seen people in my family, friends that have gotten pinched for it. Just do not drink and drive. Just please be safe. And it's not even just, about yourself. It's about the other people on the road. I mean, you're always told that everybody, when you learn how to drive, you have to assume everybody's an idiot. So you got to assume that there's going to be drunks and reckless drivers on the road, and these are some of the worst nights to drive. Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve and everything. So please, everybody, just be safe, be happy, be merry, open some presents, drink some eggnog, coquito, whatever the hell you want to drink, and have all the good food. But just please be safe and be prosperous.
Yes, and of course, the man everybody wants to find under their tree. From the Hockey News, Mr. Anthony LaRocco.
What? Oh my God!
What?
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh man!
I think Mark's wishing for Santa Claus to bring him a Demi Panarin trade when the holiday freeze ends. Exciting time of year, especially if you yourself. It's definitely cool to live out the holidays through their eyes. So yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all, and still got a night of hockey before the break here.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some of that. And I think I'm having a little bit of trouble with my Wi-Fi right now, guys. Hopefully that's not going to be the case too much longer. Because I'm if I appear a little bit choppy, I've been having that issue now. But let's get down to covering a lot. Not exactly a lot that happened. It was an eventful week for the New York Rangers. Not really so eventful for the other two teams in the area. But let's get down to them right now. Let's go to the A block, where, as of course, brought to you by Seek, promo code Apple Hockey, $20 order. Guys, I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi appears to be in just dire straits. Hopefully, that's going to be fine very soon. Like I said, use the promo code Big Apple Hockey. There it is, and the Big Apple Hockey trucker hats and shirts are available. You can click them in the link below. Anyway, you look at what happened with the New York Rangers this week, and you look at the Metropolitan Division standings. The New York Rangers fell to the Nashville Predators after a comeback win over the Philadelphia Flyers and an overtime win over the St. Louis Blues. The Rangers escaped their 8th shutout of the season with a final minute goal by Johnny Brzezinski. And we're going to get more into that game in a moment. But you could tell the look on my face. Goody is the only way to say about that one. And JT Miller, right now he's out week to week. They're calling it upper body injury, possibly a separated shoulder. And you also have various different X accounts speculating on the Artemi Panarin trade. We're going to talk more about him in Bar Talk. But, Philk, should Ranger fans be positive going into Christmas?
What is there to be positive about? I mean, the only thing I could think of that you could be positive about.
They're only 1 point out of the playoffs, Phil.
Yeah, with how many games in hand? Everybody else has how many games in hand? Listen.
Mhm.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, negative Nancy, whatever the hell you want to call me, but it's just not a good team. Um, I mean, the one thing that you would hope out of all this is that they really start to blow things up, and maybe that a Panarin trade is incoming, and maybe this team has finally identified, hey, over a bigger sample size. I mean, it's too much to say that this is a small sample size. Now we kind of know what they are, like I said last week, but maybe they go and they start to address the fact that they need to move on from these guys. They have an aging core that is not getting any younger. They're mostly on the wrong side of 30, outside of maybe Adam Fox and Igor Shesterkin, who is 30 or will be 30 very soon. I think is it on the 30th? I think he turns 30.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah, I believe he's turning 30 within like the next few days, but it's still, yeah, he turns 30 on the 30th. So again, it's an aging core that hasn't done anything. They haven't won. If anything, they should be taking notes from the New York Mets. They dismantled a core that looked like it was a good core on paper, but hadn't won anything. They were together for years, and they won what, 2 playoff series? I mean, the Rangers got to the conference finals twice, but what does that mean if you don't win anything? I mean, it's at some point you really have to move on, and I would hope that this first half of a season is an eye opener for Chris Drury and James Dolan. And I say James Dolan because James Dolan is obviously involved, and he's the one that's giving directives to Chris Drury to say this and this, and that's why hearing about Chris Drury being involved in the Quinn Hughes discussions, and then reporters like Dave Pagnotta, friend of the show, who are saying that the Rangers want to take a big swing. And I mean, people are going to sit there and they'll criticize Dave Pagnotta's track record because he's spotty. He's hit on a lot and he's missed a lot, but such is life as a reporter. Now, I don't think that's anything against Dave specifically, but I don't think Dave is necessarily wrong. I think what he's hearing has base to it. When there is smoke, there is fire. So hopefully this team is not buying into the litany of excuses that some people on the Rangers social media circle, who I absolutely adore, Johnny Lazarus, but you can't keep giving them excuses to lose against a team like Nashville. I get Miller's out. I get Fox is out. I get some of their guys had the flu. But you have to beat a team like Nashville. You cannot lose to a backup goalie on the last place team in the league and score 1 goal and get outshot by nearly double the margin. I don't care if it's their 3rd game in 4 nights. I really don't. You have to give better efforts. If this wasn't if this was an isolated incident, like let's just say that this is maybe 2 or 3 performances this entire year where they've really looked down and out against a bottom feeder, then I would buy into that. You know what? Hey, 3rd game in 4 nights, they're without a few guys. There's something going around, which I mean, I'm fighting a chest cold myself, as you could probably hear. But you know what? It's not the case. We know what this team is. This team has laid eggs on home ice and away against bad teams. Vancouver, San Jose before we knew what San Jose was going to be. Chicago. Obviously the St. Louis game. These are teams that they should be beating regardless of what the circumstances are, because they're not good teams. So when you give another effort like this, where you look like you don't show up, and then you got guys like Vincent Trocheck, who are supposed to be an emotional leader on the team, talking about a lack of pride, I think that tells you all that you need to know about what's going on here. I mean, this is a closest thing I've seen to this country club environment that plagued the team for 7 or 8 years during the dark ages. I mean, guys were literally showing up to get a paycheck, and then you had guys like Bobby Holik who were publicly criticizing the team in the media, saying, I don't know why they signed me to be a first-line center. I'm not a first-line center. And they gave me all this sorts of money, and he's laughing about it, making a mockery of the organization. I mean, you want to talk about Toronto, who's a whole other story that we're going to get into, where the rhetoric isn't matching between the players and the coaches. The Rangers are doing the same thing here. Same exact thing. So again, they need to really get on the same page, and this needs to be determined one way or another, like right now. They need to start talking to someone like Artemi Panarin about that no trade clause and waiving it and trying to see what return you can get for him, because there's no way you can continue on with this core. It has to end here. It has to end now. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they've got a game tonight against Washington. I don't know how you can feel confident about Washington beating Washington, especially when they lost for the second time in how many days to Detroit on back-to-back games. I mean, yeah, JT Miller might be unmovable right now. That could change in time. But again, guys have to be moved. Like the teardown has to start here and now. I'm not saying it's going to happen all at once like it did in 2018, but it has to start to happen right now.
Yeah, Anthony, you agree with that?
Yeah, and quite frankly, I'm surprised you keep kind of like asking these questions week after week when about the we all know what the answer is. Like, yes, they're 1 point out of a playoff spot, but read between the lines. They've won one game in their in regulation in the last 12 games. The rest have either been losses or they find a way to get a point in a shootout in overtime. But they're not winning games outright. Alexis Lafreniere is now on pace for 39 points. He's now officially pacing below 40. That's inexcusable. He's toast. Artemi Panarin, if you read the tea leaves, it looks like he's going to be moving on, and they're going to probably trade him at some point before the trade deadline. So, I mean, yes, because of the East, again, we talk about it week after week, it's not getting any better yet. I mean, hell, the Sabres have won 6 games in a row, and now all of a sudden they're back in it. So, like, you know, no one's really truly out of it right now. But again, ask yourself the question. Despite that, are they better than Washington? No. Are they better than Carolina? No. Are they better than the Islanders? No. Are they better than Philly?
Debatable at best.
Yeah. Yes. That I think they're overachieving. But the point is, yes, they're right there. But there's so many underlying issues going on with them right now. It would be stupid of Chris Drury to spend prime assets to try to make the playoffs and lose in the first round. It would be really, really asinine. The writing is on the wall for this team, and you know, like Filk said, it needs the tear down, retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it. It needs to start sooner than later, because right now they're just spinning their wheels. They're spinning their wheels. And now, I mean, this kind of Ricky Rayner laugh is a bust. It's like, yeah, he's on pace to have a really, really bad year. And now the point, you don't want to wait too long to the point where you're going to trade him and the value is just going to kind of be met. They have to move on from him sooner than later too. Yeah, Mark, they're in it, but let's face it, they're not really going anywhere realistically.
Yeah, Anthony, the only reason why this question was asked is because you get those people online that are like, oh, you guys are being too negative all the time. Well, give us something to be positive about. Let's start with that one. All of us are in agreement. The Rangers should have started this teardown last summer. Never mind now.
Summer of
but they should do this
2024,
now.
not even summer of 2025.
Yeah, 2024, because the temptation was, oh, they just won this. They were 6 wins away from the Stanley Cup. All they got to do is make an upgrade, and then that's it. Well, then they couldn't make those upgrades. And like even the dogs know in the background that this team is not that great. It's just not. Phil, you want to talk about they lost to Nashville? They didn't show up. If you watch the condensed game where they take the NHL highlights, There was 2 highlights of a shot towards the goaltender, and I have to phrase it like that. Shot towards the goaltender that was actually covered by the condensed game. Both of them were by Johnny Brodzinski. One hit the goalpost, and the other one was a rebound he put in the net. This is Johnny Brodzinski. Like, this is what the Rangers have to rely on now? Where was Panarin in that game? Where was the Zibanejad in that game? Where was Lafreniere in that game? Where was Vinny Trocheck in that game? I could go on and on and on. Your top 6 is full of nothing. You got to move on. But the thing is, Ranger fans are going to see the win against the Flyers and go, well, you know what? That's the team that they really. No, they're not. No, they're not. They can't score at home. They're an anomaly on the road. They're not this great road team that everybody thinks that's going to be there. This is something that it's been happening for a while, and that's why I've said this ad nauseum. I'm not even blaming Mike Sullivan. You give a great sculptor, and Ricky's saying, I just don't see this rebuild happening. With Dolan and Drury call the shots, good, but you can't polish a turd. If you give a great sculptor a load of crap, he might be able to make a sculpture out of it. It's still crap. It still stinks. And that's what the New York Rangers are. They're a last place team. They're not in last yet. That's the thing. They played 38 games. Everyone else has played 35, with the exception of the Devils and the Bruins. I mean,
before you, it's great that you brought that up. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
yeah, go ahead.
That also works against the Rangers, because you talk about how open this Eastern Conference is. Those teams could all just as easily win those games, and the Rangers are like here, just below the playoff line. Then they're here, out of the picture, once those teams all win those games. Sorry, just had to say that.
It's okay, Phil, because here's the thing. The parallels between this and 2018 are really becoming more apparent. They made a big addition in the 2017 offseason going into 2018, the 17-18 season. That was Kevin Shattenkirk. In this case, it's Mike Sullivan. Then you have, they're going to play the Winter Classic. Okay, that's great. And they're sort of like you think that they're in it, they're really not. And it's gonna take a drubbing, an embarrassment, that the Boston Bruins laid the absolute wood to the Rangers. And I was at that game, and everybody was able to go, oof, well, this is really not a good team anymore. That's what they need. They really need to be embarrassed, and they probably need to be done by the Florida Panthers. We're going to talk more about them later, by the way. And hopefully you got to come to this realization, because Chris Drury has not assembled a team with talent. This team has no talent. This team is like somebody on American Idol trying to sing a song far out of their range, and the rest of the league is the judges laughing at them as they're trying to do it. They need reality to hit them in the face. And the first thing James Dolan needs to do is get away from this team like he did before, and also stop listening to people like Glenn Sather and Mark Messier. Stop. Just absolutely stop. What the Rangers need is someone from a successful organization to come in and recreate the organization and the culture, because that's the other thing too. The culture of this team has been awful. It's been awful for a long time. But I'm screaming into the void until it happens. But that's what I want for Christmas. That would be my Christmas miracle. And, oh, we're the worst ones. Go ahead. Why? Go ahead. Why? Yeah. I'd love to know. What's the problem? What's the problem with the analytics right there? Are the Rangers
wrong
on everything? Okay. There's only one team that scored.
And that right there is abundantly wrong, too. Abundantly wrong. But.
Okay. Cam. All right. Here's where you're wrong. There's only one team in the league that has scored less goals at home than the New York Rangers. One. And that's the LA Kings. They're pathetic at home. And if you mean to tell me you're going to look at the Rangers and think talent is coming, don't worry about whether or not they're better than the Islanders. Never mind, are they better than anybody? Stop thinking about it like that. Is this team going to win one playoff series? Please. No, I mean, look, I'm not up for banning people unless you get verbally abusive. You want to try to contradict me? Bring facts, please. Bring facts. Tell me why the Islanders are not better than the Rangers.
That's gotta be trolling.
No, don't worry. Don't worry about it. But at least bring facts. That's all I'm asking.
That's I wouldn't. That's got to be trolling. There's no way you can say that. The Rangers are
whatever.
Than the Islanders right now.
Yeah.
There's just
if you mean to tell me. And again, let's also look at what Steve Valaket said last week. Igor Shesterkin has not stolen a game for the Rangers this year.
He might be the worst pot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell the truth instead of sitting there. I mean, all right. Listen. All right. You want to debate that whether they're a playoff team or not? Okay.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. That's a discussion to be had. That's fine. I mean, you could debate that whether or not they're gonna make the playoffs or what they'll do in the first round if they do make it, or beyond if they somehow win that playoff series. That's fine. That's a discussion to be had. But you're gonna tell me that they're not better than the Rangers, who are the worst home team in the league, who have scored the second least amount of goals on home ice? I don't know what. Listen, man, if you want to believe that, that's fine.
No,
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
I don't see it coming. I would love to know why you think this. If you're being serious and you're not trolling, I'm not trying to assume because I don't know whether or not you are. It sounds like it at points, but why will once they get
or at least rose-colored glasses?
What's going to get them into the playoffs? That's what I want to know. Who's coming? What is going to save this team? If you can give me something, something that tells me that's a real solid plan of action, what is going to okay. I see how it is. JE is a little disappointed that I'm not giving the Rangers a lot.
I don't think some people can comprehend you have to be partial when you do this, and that's their understanding.
Yeah, and also let's just say this: they don't have the leadership of a good captain because JT Miller is not a great captain. Mika Zibanejad is the biggest head case in the NHL.
If you've got something,
let's get off of that.
Yeah, if you've got something,
no, they're not.
If not, then
okay,
I think I know where
they're not. Igor Shesterkin is not going to be good enough to carry them to multiple rounds. And I understand the East is weak, but it's not that case. You got to be able to put the puck in the net.
Yeah,
and we're going to move on for the Rangers right now.
This is just trolling.
Yeah, we're gonna move on for the Rangers right now. So let's talk about the Islanders, who really didn't have that great of a week.
Sorry
to
waste everybody's time there.
They lost to Vancouver. The Islanders lost to Vancouver, but then they lost to Buffalo and it was a shootout on Saturday. They tied the game in the final minute. Emil Heineman getting another goal and once again proving that he's a bit of a steal in that trade. But the Islanders are kind of stumbling into the playoffs, into this Christmas break a little bit. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. It's still looking pretty good. Anthony, do the Islanders need like a Christmas reset right now?
I mean, yeah, maybe a little bit. I think Bo Horvat is not playing tonight, but he said that he's hopeful he's going to be back for the Ranger game on the 27th. Ilya Sorokin, has kind of like a little nagging thing, which I appreciate the organization being so transparent about. Last year, I just would have said Sorokin, whatever, out with no detail. They eased the minds of the Islander fans by really explaining it. He'll be back after the holiday break. So, Yeah, they're a little nicked up right now. So I think if they can get a win over New Jersey tonight, which would potentially put themselves back in second place in the Metro, depending on what Washington and Philly do tonight, that would be that'd be great. But yeah, you know what, losing to Vancouver, wasn't good, but I guess they credit to them. They beat the Devils, they beat the Rangers, they beat the Bruins, so they were playing better hockey. And then the Sabres have won 6 in a row, so they're just playing. They play two teams that are happening to be playing really well right now. And unfortunately, in the case of the Sabre game, they weren't able to get the extra point in the shootout. But yeah, I think a little bit, Mark. But again, their record, as you pointed out, still in their last 10 is still very good at 6-3-1. So I think, yeah, if they can, similar to kind of said a couple of weeks ago when they finished out that homestand by beating Colorado to get to 500, and from there they went back on a roll. I think if they can win tonight over New Jersey, like I said, maybe get back in the second and then rest up and come back out of the holiday break. I think for them that'll be a really good situation. So yeah. But overall, I think they've done okay without Horvat, but as you've seen now with a larger sample size without him, they're struggling a little bit to score some goals here. But there have been certainly positives, like David Riddick has been pretty good of late. He'll get the start, he'll get the nod again in goal tonight with Sorokin, out until after the break. But yeah, I think for the Islanders, you're still in a good spot. You're right in the thick of it for a top spot in Metro, and like I said, hopefully they can just come out tonight and get a big win over New Jersey.
Yeah, because last week is kind of hard to put your finger on with the Islanders because, I mean, non-conference opponent just kind of came in, surprised them. Then a back-to-back game to go to the Sabres. That's all I had for the week, where we had like 4 games for the Rangers to cover, but only just 2 for the Islanders. And there's not many for the Devils either that we have to cover on that. Phil, do you think the Islanders just need a Christmas reset?
Getting back Bo Horvat would be massive for them. I think, like Anthony alluded to or said rather, small sample size is now becoming a bigger sample size, and you're starting to see the cracks in the foundation. Without having a top scorer like Bo Horvat in the year that he's been having, puts a lot more pressure on someone like Matthew Barzal, who I'm still waiting for. Like, where is he? Where is he? You want more from him. That was a guy that had 80 points a couple of years ago, and you thought that maybe he was back to the player that he was, in his rookie year, and it was finally his first point per game season, 80-point season, since his rookie year, and now he looks like the same player that he was in between all these years. 29 points in 35 games. Matthew Schaefer, obviously, we can't say enough about him. Anders Lee's starting to pick up a little bit after quite a cool down after the start to the year that he had. Emil Heineman is trucking along, but you're feeling the loss of guys like Kyle Palmieri. They need something. They need someone to come up and really step up. Maxim Shabanov, he was brought over to be a scorer. He hasn't really fit the bill there. Getting back Maxim Siplikov would be a nice addition for them. He would slot nicely into their middle 6. Maybe could give you some of the offense that you're missing with Palmieri. But I'm with J.E. on this. It's going to be tough. We're going to see what's going to happen with Schaefer. And remember, he missed a lot of time in his draft year with injuries that he sustained at the World Juniors. So that limited him to a very, very, very small season, very short season. So you're going from that type of season to the rigors of a full 82-game physical NHL schedule. And this is where does Schaefer hit that rookie wall? Is it a hot start, or is this sustainable? Again, maybe Cal Ritchie comes up and he starts to contribute and starts to show that he's here for the long term. That would be in the Islanders' best interest. But they need a lot of guys to come and start stepping up real soon. Because you talk about Matthew Darsh and his unwillingness to make moves to kind of mortgage and risk the future of the team. And listen, I get that. I'm totally on board with that because this season's supposed to be house money. But you do want to send a message to your boys in the locker room and say, hey, I believe in this unit. We can make the playoffs. Let's go for this. So is it a Kiefer Sherwood? Is it a Nazem Kadri? Is it someone else? Or is it a smaller addition? Is it someone that comes in? Or is it simply Maxime Stiplikov coming back and, start, all right. Why are we doing this? Is this the same guy? It's got to be the same guy. So we're not doing that. But I do think that the Islanders can benefit from the Christmas reset. It's a small one, but I mean, with the injuries that they have and the guys that they have coming back, it could definitely help.
By the way, we also don't need to debate whether or not the Rangers and Islanders.
Rangers aren't making the playoffs. I don't know why we're even talking about the Rangers.
Rangers aren't making the playoffs, and the Rangers and Islanders haven't played the playoff series in over 31 years.
Okay, I'll say this right now: the Rangers make the playoffs. Give Mike Sullivan and Jack Adams. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's that simple with that one. I agree with you on that. Okay, getting back to this, Matthew Schaefer, since Alexander Romanov went down, he's been playing over 25 minutes a game. So originally when we talked about him at the beginning of the year, we thought maybe the Islanders would bring him along slowly. But that's not the case. They've been throwing him in the fire, and he's been answering the call. Now, that rookie wall could come sooner. And then it's going to be, can he fight through it? This is also where we're going to see Patrick Waugh and how good of a coach he really is. Because he's going to have to manage this roster and get these guys through stretches like this where maybe things aren't as great. But the Christmas break is coming at the right time for them. I think they're gonna relax for the next 4 days, reset, come on back. But you can't help but kind of look at last week. I want to throw it out the window, but is that going to be the case? That's going to be a different story on that. But yeah, the injuries are also starting to take a toll.
Three games going over. They're 6-3-1 in their last 9. I wouldn't put too much stock into the 0-2.
And again, that's why I want to throw it out the window, Anthony. I don't want it to be a trend.
I want to mention Phil's absolutely right on Barzal in general, but he has in his last 9 games he's got 11 points. So Barzal has started to elevate his game lately. Now, if he could keep that kind of production up, that would be great. That remains what they need. That's what they need. But it is encouraging that he has been producing more of late. But I think when it comes down to it, the Islanders need an addition. Like when they had Palmieri in the lineup and everybody was healthy, Richie and Shabanov were playing on the 4th line. Like they had so much depth. But now that Palmieri's out, Horvat's out. It's kind of being challenged a little bit. Pajot was out, so I think they do need another scorer brought in to help them. But I think this is a team that always, even though Horvat's been their best player offensively, they don't win with just one player. They win because like every line when they're going, spoke to last week, they kind of come at you in waves. So the Islanders just need they need to get healthy again. Again, Horvat's going to be back on the 27th against the Rangers, and that's certainly a good start. But there's no doubt. I think Shabanov, who looked great earlier in the season, especially when he came back from his injury, he slowed down to the tune that while healthy scratched him for Stiplikov in the game against Buffalo. I guess send a message. He's going to be back in the lineup tonight. But with his kind of talent, he's got to raise his level here. But again, big game in Jersey tonight. Get 2 points, and you're feeling good about yourself going into Christmas.
Yeah, and you're talking about getting New Jersey at the right time, Anthony, and that's actually what we're going to pivot to right now. Because the Devils 2-1 last week. They had wins over Vegas and Utah. And by the way, an odd West Coast trip. They just went to Vegas and Utah and then right back. And they lost to Buffalo on Sunday night. Jack Hughes returned and scored his first goal since November 12th. And I'll start with you on this one, Phil. With Hughes back, is that just going to right the ship, or are there like deeper things the Devils need to be working on?
Yes and no. Obviously, when you have a player like Jack Hughes come back, that's a 90 to 100 point player right there. That is the figurehead of your offense. He is the linchpin there, and he will move players down in the lineup. He will increase production for players like Jesper Bratt. Nico Hischier is going to start to see easier matchups. Well, maybe not necessarily easier matchups, but there's going to be more attention focused on Jack Hughes, so there's a little less on Hischier. Hischier can play his game. It'll help players like Meyer. It'll help players like Mercer. It'll help players like Bratt. It helps everybody in the top six. The power play is going to improve, even though that one stretch in 2024 when they were without him and they had this ridiculous power play. I never understood it. But I think they do have some deeper seated issues. The goaltending, as I've talked about, and I always will reference this because Jim will always defend Markstrom. He will always defend Markstrom, but Markstrom is just he's leap year. You don't know what you're getting year to year with him. You just don't. Every other year, it looks like he's really great. He's great. And then the next year, he looks like he's average to maybe even below average at times. They don't have great goaltending. Their defense isn't great. They're still, I believe, they're still missing Brett Pesce, and they're not getting the production. They weren't getting the production from Dougie Hamilton. They're not getting the production from Luke Hughes. They also have tertiary scoring issues and beyond. Their depth scoring just isn't there. You can look up and down that lineup, and it's just not there. I mean, look at it. Like you go from Bratt, Hischier, Mercer, Meyer, both Hughes brothers, and then Nemec make up their top 7 in scoring. And then there's Gritza. Connor Brown has put up a little more points lately, but after that, there's a 5-point drop off, and only 2 other players have over 10 points. I mean, and then some of the guys that are on that drop off, Dougie Hamilton has 8 points this season. Andre Palat has 7 points in 36 games. Stefan Nason, I feel like I talk about this guy every week because that was a guy that looks like he was supposed to, be a 15 to 20 goal, 35 to 40 point middle six player that could come in and help provide depth scoring. He hasn't done that this year. So I don't know what we're doing here, but New Jersey has a lot of deeper seated issues that they need to figure out. And yes, Jack Hughes will help, but Jack Hughes is not the answer to all of their problems because they have other problems that need to be addressed.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those still. Like their penalty killing was down to 64% as of recently. Now, they seem to have tightened up because every single score last week was 2-1, 2-1, 3-1. So I guess they're trying to slow things down a little bit. And the Devils are more of a team that really is better when they play it fast. They're kind of going to be interesting to watch this next couple weeks because I think Tom Fitzgerald's job is not necessarily on the line, but it's kind of getting close. That seat's starting to get a little bit warm. And I think there's a little bit of that thinking of, just Quinn Hughes was going to be a Devil. And ever since that trade, there's a little bit of a perception about the job that he's doing. But you look at what they've done as of recently, 4-6 in their last 10. And they're really not that intimidating team that we think. And let's just pull Anthony out for a little bit. And it's just a real question of, like, this all kind of started from the Jack Hughes injury. And now that he's back and everything's good, now he's dating McRae. So that's another thing. But you got to wonder if the focus is on where it should be with the team, for one. And it's just, I don't like the goaltending situation. Bill, you were talking about it before. I mean, Markstrom has got an 881 save percentage. That's not just defense, especially when Jake Allen has got a 912 in front of him. So Markstrom has got to be better and pick up his play. He was the best player in the playoffs in the first round last year, hands down. But it's not the first round anymore, guys. And if the Devils want to be something, they're going to need Jacob Markstrom to be something. And that's where, Phil's shaking his head, and so am I. I mean, I'm left looking for answers. I'm trying to buy a little bit more time for Anthony to come back, but it's Phil, it's one of those things. I look at the Devils and I think that I wonder if Sheldon Keefe is the right guy. I mean, is he really the guy that's going to lead this team? And he didn't exactly win much in Toronto as far as playoffs went and stuff like that. And I always love that line of maybe the Leafs are made for the Leafs to beat themselves. And he kind of used that as a throwaway line. And now we got Anthony back. Sorry, let me click it. And Anthony, do you think that Hughes coming back is just going to right the ship?
I mean, I think it very well might. As we kind of have talked about, he's the guy that really steers the ship there. He's their most dynamic player. Their offense runs through him. So granted, Hischier, Bratt, those guys are great, but Jack Hughes is the guy that really makes them go. So yeah, I mean, him being back is going to be huge for them. Like, paid early dividends. He did score in their loss to Buffalo. And when he's on their ice, he could change the game in a shift. So, if he could stay healthy and, Markstrom can provide a little bit better goaltending and they get healthier, then, yeah, I mean, I think the Devils have all the makings to get back up there. So, yeah, I think they're like really every other team in the Metro. They're right in the thick of things. So, him being back is certainly good for them. Mark's frozen, it looks like.
Yeah, I think he's frozen, yeah.
So he's definitely frozen. It's funny.
Yeah, he's frozen. That's what I was saying. Like, yes, Jack Hughes is going to help. Like, there's no doubt that he's going to help. He's going to – I think we got Mark back finally.
He's back.
Okay, yeah. Nah, that is Mark's acting pose.
Yeah,
freezer, you're frozen. but yeah, I think Hughes is going to help. I just think that there are other issues that need to be ironed out there. And hey, listen, this is a good reference right here. A nice Metallica reference there. What is this? My cry on fate. Well, what is this? I've been stricken by fate. Wrapped up tight, cannot move, cannot reprieve. Yeah, Hand of Doom has a tight grip on me. But I think they probably will make the playoffs as long as the goaltending holds up. But we don't know whether or not that goaltending can hold up. We don't know whether or not that defense is going to actually, get their shit straight. They have a lot going on with that team that needs to be fixed. And yes, Jack Hughes help, but there needs to be a lot more that happens, and guys need to start stepping up for them real soon, real soon. So.
All right. Well, I mean, I still think we're looking at maybe 5 Atlantic Division teams. We're going to talk more about whether or not the Devils or another team are going to make the playoffs. Stay tuned on that in our pickup segment. But let's do some NHL bar talk.
Let's kick it into high pace. Grab your mates, it's time to unlock NHL bar talk.
Layup, get the damn hoop.
We go shot here.
The easiest I've ever to answer.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around.
We're all in this game, let the good times shake.
You're muted. You're muted.
Muted.
Okay. Yes. Well, again, my Wi-Fi is killing me today, guys. Welcome back to Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk. We're gauging our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice of drink. So confident that you're buying around, so have a beer or Oh my God, I need a shot. Play along down in the comments below, everyone. And hopefully all the problems will be gone. All right. Guys, let's start off with somebody. First, let me give a little reenactment of the movie Happy Gilmore and quote that. Anthony, you were smart. I was dumb. You were right. I was wrong. You were good looking. I am not attractive. But Alexei Lafreniere, 7 goals, 11 assists, and 18 points. That's what he's got this year. Alexei Lafreniere will get dealt this offseason. I turn to you, Mr. Filkowski.
I'm going to say beer. I think there's a possibility. I think there's a very strong possibility. I said before the start of this season that if he didn't wake up this year and convince them that he was going to be dealt, I'm starting to think that there's a distinct possibility that it happens. I wonder if there's somebody in Dallas that the Rangers would try to target and send back in return, because obviously salary would have to go if that person were to come here. But I do think that he is going to be dealt by the end of this season. I think there's probably like I want to say a 60 to 65% chance. I can't imagine that discussions haven't been had about his effort level. His effort level just on a nightly basis just looks, it's abysmal at times. It's abysmal. I don't think he was ever going to be generational. The scouting reports said that. And I know that the comparison that was going around was Crosby because of the fact that they both won CHL Player of the Year back-to-back years.
Did they both play for Oceanic?
Yeah, the Rimouski Oceanic, both of them. They were both captains of the team as well. But I do think that he will be moved. No, I don't think his contract is too bad. I think it's a possibility. I don't think that you're going to get what you would look for, but he would probably have to be packaged as part of a deal for a better player. And if the rhetoric that's going around is true, I will say that you will have to move him for somebody like that target in Dallas, or maybe a target in St. Louis by some chance. Who knows? So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I would say there's about a 65% chance that it happens.
Anthony, what do you got?
I said before, he's on pace for roughly about like 39 points, which would be his worst year since 22. Sorry, since 22-23, we had 39 points. This is a player, outside of his 57-point year in 82 games, which, I mean, let's face 57, 82 points. It's good. It's not outstanding, especially for a first overall pick. So, if he fails to crack 40 points, you're talking he'd be going into next year would be what, year 7, and he still kind of is just meh. I think it's at that point you gotta pull the plug. So I'm actually gonna go a little bold, and I'm gonna say round. I just think the Rangers can't afford to, because let's just say he can't even crack 40 points, or he barely cracks 40, and they hold on to him again. And then let's just say next year he does the same thing. Now you're bordering on where his value really is going to be in the tank. So I think that it would be smart for the Rangers to explore moving him this summer before it gets to a point where it's too far gone. So, I'm going to say round. And if he does move on, hopefully for him, he could flourish somewhere else. But, I'm starting to believe whether it's in New York or it's somewhere else, he is what he is at this point, which is just kind of like a middle 40 to 45 point guy. And, like I said, I think at that point the Rangers need to cut bait, because you can't hold on too long. You really can't. So, I'll stick with round, but it could very well not be. I'm just going to go a little bit brazen on this one.
All right, I just gotta laugh because I usually don't check the comments. I saw this one. Let's debate who's a better captain, Trouba or Miller. You got to debate who's a better captain out of the two of them. They're both terrible. They're both awful. Miller's an awful captain, and Jacob Trouba shouldn't have even had a video tribute. And don't give me the helmet throw when I could tell what I could point out when he misplayed too many guys in the Eastern Conference Finals and cost the Rangers a chance to go to the Stanley Cup. Watch Game 6. Watch overtime Game 4. Nobody, no defenseman should ever be at the boards in a penalty kill. But I digress. Go ahead.
That's the worst play I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Let's go back to the helmet throw. Getting back to this one, I'm actually going to go round on it too. And the reason why is because I think I want to try to say it's and be controversial and say he's going to get dealt this season before the deadline. The thing is, you're going to need players that are going to be there. And I think the Rangers are going to take that time to the dogs are really hating a lot of these comments today. But the Rangers are going to probably use that time to see if they can evaluate him. This is also part of the problem. There was never a plan for Lafreniere. There was never a plan for him to succeed. It's just, when is he going to take the ice time? Well, you drafted a left wing, and you had two left wings that are ahead of him on the roster. Now you got one, and still he's not even used on power play one. It was never an ideal situation for Alexei Lafreniere, and I think he's been mentally checked out for a while now. He was able to kind of Alexei Kovalev himself back in and at least finish the year that they won the President's Trophy well. But I mean, this is a parting of both ways. And the one thing he should also look at is JT Miller. JT Miller was a guy that the Rangers dealt, ended up going to Tampa, getting dealt from Tampa, and then figuring it out in Vancouver. Sometimes it takes a trade to snap your focus in place or to make you realize maybe I got to be more of a professional. Right now, Alexei Lafreniere is the embodiment of the phrase, you don't win on talent alone. And he's trying to win on talent, and that's what he's been doing for a while. He's going to have to figure it out elsewhere. All right, let's go to what could be a very shrewd move by another GM. You look at what David Richards done this season, 7-3-2.
Riddick.
9. Well, Riddich or Riddick. I always forget.
Riddick.
It's
pronounced like Chronicles of Riddick.
Okay, big save, Dave. Well, David Riddick, 7-3-2, 908 save percentage, 254 goals against this year. So, Mr. LaRocco, David Riddick has been Matthew Darsh's most effective. Let me say it again since Filk is laughing. David Riddick has been Matthew Darsh's most effective offseason addition.
So Anthony.
And we just lost Anthony.
Yeah, I guess something either happened where he had to back out or his internet went. But I'm going to go with Round.
All right, Phil.
I mean, we're not going to count Matthew Schaefer in this, right? Since it's a draft.
No, because that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's all right. So we're talking about additions that they made to the team through free agency trade and so on. So yeah, I'm gonna go Round here. I look at the roster. When you bring in Emil Heineman, who has been really good for them in a middle/top six role. They bring in Jonathan Drouin, who's kind of been as advertised. Hasn't been bad. Hasn't been great. Decent. I mean, Max Shabanov was a guy that was really hyped. Hasn't really done a whole lot. Cal Ritchie was with the team last year, technically, so you can't really use him as an addition by any means. But I mean, really, that's really the one, addition that I can think of that has done really, really well for them. I mean, he's got a 908 save percentage. It's slightly below Ilya Sorokin's 910, and his goals against average is 2.54, which is literally 0.01 better than Ilya Sorokin's. And I mean, honestly, he's played half the minutes, but he's been really good for them as a backup. He's got to be one of the better backups in the league right now. So I will say that this is a round like this has got to be a hoop for me. It's got to be
Okay. All right, so let's make that a layup now for you. Phil, I am just gonna go that it's just a round. I don't know if it's exactly a hoop because Emil Heineman is gonna press that issue. The other thing is subtracting Noah Dobson really helped. However, you can't help but look at this and go, his goals against is off by 100th of a percent from Ilya Sorokin. And Ilya Sorokin has really picked up his play since late in October. And he looks like he's back to being Ilya Sorokin again. Look, this is almost an easy one for me. I think it's not there. It's not a hoop because Emil Heineman does kind of cloud that with his 12 goals. But this is big because, like, take for instance, they're resting Ilya Sorokin right now. Think about last year where they had to play Ilya Sorokin as much as they had to, and then eventually it was he couldn't go in the net, and then you had Hogberg that was in there, and I thought Hogberg was doing just fine, but then he started looking bad, and then you look at those games against the Rangers last year, especially for the Islanders, that they were just getting destroyed in net with some of the goalies they had in there. So you have a sustainable goalie that's in there, and he's got a track record of doing this. He's done it in LA. He's done it in Nashville. He's done it in Calgary. And it's just, he's a good backup, and that's what you need, especially since Semyon Varlamov, Lord only knows the next time that we're going to be seeing him. Let's focus on another team that's missing a couple players. You have both Seth Jarvis and Jacob Slavin are both out week to week right now. Vilk, these injuries, Carolina's injuries, will cost them the Metro Division.
I'm going to say shot. What team is stepping up and taking this division right now?
Bingo.
What team? Tell me what team is going to step up and take. You really think the Philadelphia Flyers are going to take that division from Carolina? Maybe Washington. I mean, I don't even know if I like Washington all that much, honestly, to tell you the truth. When I look at that roster up and down, like what stands out about any of these teams? The Islanders have their own issues that they have to work with. I mean, even with Horvat coming back, they still have to worry about secondary scoring. They still have to worry about whether Matthew Schaefer is going to hit a rookie wall or not. Alexander Ovechkin, did Father Time finally catch up with him? Because he's not having a great year. He's not having a great year at all. Like you look at that, you look at him, and he's having not the greatest year. He's still good, obviously, but for Alexander Ovechkin standards, it's not that great. John Carlson, 28 points in 32 games is nice. Jacob Chikrin, 28 points in 36 games, including 14 goals, is nice. Dylan Strome, after a point-per-game season last year, 26 points in 34 games. Alexei Protas, he finished with a 22 shooting percentage last year, 15.8 shooting percentage. Ryan Leonard looks like he's here to stay, but he's still got a ways to go before he's a legitimate top six bona fide star scorer. And Connor McMichael, 18 points in 36 games. Who could have seen that regression coming? Who? Or
that'd be you.
Wrestling
That'd
fans
be you.
that love the New Day. Who? Yeah. I don't think that I think that Washington is not a team that I'm gonna sit there and expect them to get all the same puck luck that they had last year. And that's why PDO is an important stat to look at times. It's not the be-all, end-all, but PDO and shooting percentage are definitely important stats. So Yeah, I don't see Washington. I don't see Philadelphia. New Jersey is the team that could really, once Jack Hughes is really back into a groove, and it looks like he started off very well coming back right away. But, once New Jersey, if they could figure out their things. Oh, hold on, Joey. Is Carberry a great coach, though? Is he? Is he? He had one. So he has one great year where he wins the Jack Adams, where everybody on his team is just everything is going right. Everything is going right. So I need more of a sample size than that. He could be the Jim Carrey of coaching for all we know.
Oh boy, the Jim Carrey of anything.
Oh, and funny enough, Jim Carrey won his Vezina with the Washington
Capitals. Yeah, by the way, I'm going to go shot on this one too. And it's amazing, Phil, that we're talking about this because you have the Carolina Hurricanes, almost the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Hurricanes are going to miss their top defensive defenseman and their top goal scorer. And I think they were actually fine. They're fine. Just keep riding it out because one, Andrei Svechnikov needs to get going. So maybe ride him, get him hot. But the other one is there's nobody in the Metro trying to take it. Pardon me for using this metaphor for anybody that doesn't know, but there's a level that was in the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword where you have to go through the ancient cistern, you go to the bottom, and there are these zombies that are walking around, and you got to climb up a thread all the way to the top, and the zombies are climbing after you.
So annoying with them trying to knock you off the thing. Yeah,
right. It's all based on a Japanese fairy tale. Yep. Now, the thing is, Carolina's Link. They're gonna motor right up that thing, and they're gonna get slowed down. But it's at the end of the day, it's just a zombie. They're just gonna have to just shake the controller, and then they're gone. Because I don't see the Philadelphia Flyers really being able to sustain enough pressure on them. Oof. I don't see the New York Islanders being able to do that. I don't see the Jersey Devils being able to do that. The New York Rangers, again, are not going to make the playoffs. Sorry, again, to the commenter that said I was the worst podcaster ever. And then you also have the Pittsburgh Penguins, which aren't really going to do that much either. And call me when the Columbus Blue Jackets ever are a serious division contender. So that's kind of where we are as far as the division goes. It's Carolina's to lose, and Carolina, even now, could probably just put it on cruise control and figure it out. But we're going to see how far that goes, and soon enough. All right. Let's go to the Atlantic Division. We're actually going to do a couple. Let's go to the Atlantic Division right now. Where you look at the hottest team in the NHL right now. Do you know what that is, Phil?
Ooh, that has to be the Buffalo Sabres.
The Buffalo Sabres, who have won 6 straight, 3 points out of wild card 2. They're 3-0 since jettisoning Kevin Adams. And now the hardest part for us, by the way, is who is going to be Big City Kevin Adams when there's no Kevin Adams to refer to him as. But that was Chris Drury. And also, they replaced him with Jarmo Kekalainen, who I think is still a good GM, but also I'm in the word think on that because he was the former Blue Jackets GM, and he was the only time they've ever been successful. So, Philk, I got to ask this. Jarmo Kekalainen, hold on. Jarmo Kekalainen can get the Sabres into the playoffs this year and avoid another rebuild.
Beer. And I'm going to say this only because I don't think he gets Buffalo into the playoffs this year, but I think that a new general manager will avoid another rebuild. I think if Kevin Adams were to stay and the Pagolas didn't fire him, I think they were headed towards another rebuild, and they were headed towards guys like Thompson and Dahlin wanting out. I do think, however, that you may see Owen Power dealt in the offseason. I think that they're getting tired of waiting for him to really break out and be that number one defenseman. And that contract has not been good for Buffalo. I think Kekalainen might be able to come along and get guys like Thompson and Dahlin to really kind of buy into a new general manager and a new front office staff. I do think that he's going to try to change the culture, and I think that might be enough to get those guys to stay. But they're going to have to win this year or next year, because if they don't win this year or next year, that might be a big problem, and that's when you could see things start to really get worse for guys like Thompson and Dahlin in Buffalo, because eventually they're going to get tired of it, especially if you don't deliver on the promises that you're making as a general manager. You're going to lose those guys real quick. And once you lose those guys, there it goes. So he can. I don't know if he will this year, but man, they got a lot of work to do within the next, I would say, 18 months or so.
Yeah, they might have work to do within the next 4 months. And I'm going to go beer on this one as well. I'll tell you what, one thing so far that looks like it might have changed is that I think the players might have just been relieved now that Kevin Adams is gone. Now, Buffalo still is going to have some work to do. Let's see where their upcoming schedule is. Coming up. I'm trying to buy a little bit more time also so that way Anthony can get back up here. But Buffalo, they got Ottawa tonight, and Ottawa's fighting for a spot. Then you got the Bruins. St. Louis, that looks like they righted the ship. Dallas, that looks like they're a juggernaut. And then over to Columbus. Schedule sort of softens up a little bit, but there aren't any easy games when you're a bad team in the NHL. Question is, this is now year 2 of Lindy Ruff for them. And the second time around.
I don't think he's an answer either.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, Lindy Ruff is able to get his team to buy in. But that's the other question too.
Hold on. Before we go any further with this, how are you seeing Owen Power for Mario Ferraro? Because that does nothing for Buffalo. If Owen Power is gone, it's not going to be for an older defenseman like Mario Ferraro that really isn't much of an impact guy. Like, you're probably looking at a 1-for-1 hockey trade where with another player that needs a change of scenery. Like, I'm not going to say Alexi Lafreniere. No, not even a package. Why would they do that? Why would San Jose do that?
Yeah, they would have to. You have to throw in a lot more because still the younger asset is still more valued. The younger asset that's under a controllable contract.
I mean, are you sending back a top 5 pick at that point? And
which would be idiocy for them.
Why
but let's go with one guy that could change around the culture there. And because you thought maybe if they brought in Lou Lamoriello, that would be a guy that changes around the culture, even with a veteran coach like Lindy Ruff. But since they brought in Kekalainen, the most success he's ever had as an NHL GM was with John Tortorella as his coach. So could you see Torts going to Buffalo? And do you think that could work with the players?
I could see Kekalainen bringing him in. And yeah, that's either going to do one of two things. That's either going to galvanize them, and it's gonna send a message to guys like Thompson and Dahlin that, hey, we're serious about winning and getting back on track. Or those guys are going to be like, I don't want to play for this guy and I want out. I mean, that's what happened with Cutter Gauthier. He didn't want to play for Tortorella, and then he got traded to Anaheim in that Drysdale, that big deal that sent Drysdale the other way. Oh, here's a question. Here's the thing: who's going to want to put up with him to live in that city? I'm with Joey on this. Like that's.
Well,
That's a lot to ask, man. You're gonna live in Buffalo where it's frigid cold for the vast majority of that regular season, and then you're gonna have to deal with a complete the biggest disciplinarian ever in John Tortorella. I mean, that might drive some players away.
Well, you can't argue what John Tortorella has done in New York and in Tampa Bay, but you also can't argue what he's done in Columbus and even in Philadelphia. The thing about Torts that I think people always forget is he is a guy that not only has the back of his current players, as we saw in Philadelphia, he's got the back of his former players, even ones that he kind of didn't get along with. Like Kevin Hayes, him and Kevin Hayes didn't see eye to eye, but Torts, remember him giving it to the reporter a couple years ago? Kevin Hayes was no longer a member of the Flyers. He was long gone. And yet, here we are. It's one of the strangest situations because I think that there's a smoke screen. There's a fan perception of Tortorella that he's the most hated guy in the league. And he's a disciplinarian, but all of his players and his ex-players, you never really hear anybody say anything bad about him off the record or even for the record after a prolonged period of time. I think he could be a guy that could come in and clean things up, maybe even get them into the playoffs. And hell, he helped orchestrate these two, him and Kekalainen, helped orchestrate the greatest upset probably in my opinion in NHL history. And that's the Columbus Blue Jackets taking out the Tampa Bay Lightning. Record-setting Tampa Bay Lightning. They swept them. That is almost like up there with the Miracle on Ice if that was a 7-game series.
Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, when I think about biggest upsets in NHL history, I always have to go back and look at the 1993-94 Sharks in their third season, upsetting the number 1 Detroit Red Wings in a 7-game series and winning that series because nobody picked them to win.
And obviously, Phil, we can't continue the segment without even saying the Miracle on Manchester, where
1982. Yeah,
the 1982 Oilers had a 5-0 lead in LA, and LA storms all the way back, ties the game. Darrell Evans in overtime.
Yeah,
and it's just and
I
Mark
don't know
Messier credits that as one of the things that helped them learn how to win. Upsets help you learn how to win, and look what happened to the Lightning after that. Because then the Lightning after that then had to go play in the bubble, and they played a 5 overtime game
with
against Columbus and ended up winning. Seth Jones setting the record for ice time in that game. And look, if there's anything I will say with Kekalainen that he could do is now the culture's changed. And God, getting Kevin Adams out of there. Oh, there's got to be such a relief in Buffalo with no Kevin Adams now. But looking at a place that right now the mojo isn't feeling that good, the Chicago Blackhawks 2-7-1 in their last 10, and they had a playoff spot, Phil, and they were the first wild card, not the second. They were the first wild card on December 10th. Now with injuries to Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar, Phil, the Blackhawks will finish in the Central Cellar again.
I'm torn between beer and shot here. I mean, it really depends on the injuries and how long those guys are going to be out for. You lose two top 6 forwards, including a guy that was on pace for over 100 points. Man, I feel terrible for Bedard. He was nearly a lock for that Olympic team. I know that they earlier on in the season the debate was Tom Wilson and all this other stuff, but how are you going to leave off a guy that was on pace for over 100 points, that was top 5 in the NHL in scoring, one of the best young players in the league, and one of the most talked about and marketed players of the last 10 years. Like, how are you going to leave that guy off? For me, that would have been crazy. I don't know how long Bedard's out for. I don't know how long Nazar's out for. But they don't have enough talent otherwise. They just don't. And, I mean, you love what you saw from Spencer Knight, especially the way he was playing earlier on, too. But it's going to be too much for them to overcome, if you ask me. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know. I just – by cellar, do you mean last place, very last place? Or do you mean – I'm going to go beer. Okay. I could see them finishing in the bottom 3, maybe 5, depending on when Bedard and Nazar get back. But last place again, I don't know. I think once Bedard and Nazar get back, I think they're going to be a better team. I don't know if they make any moves to add. The only way I could see them adding is if they add players with term. Like, let's just say that there's a young player that needs a change of scenery. Funny enough, you talk about Owen Power, he fits in Chicago. They have some guys that really haven't, like, I expected more out of someone like Kevin Korchinski, and he hasn't really fit the bill. They have a lot of guys that you would think that would have been so much better. He hasn't even really played this year for Korchinski, that is. But it's you thought that he was going to progress. You thought that Levshinov has been decent, but again, you want more. I don't know. I stick with beer. I think that there's more to be expected from a lot of players on that team, but it is possible. I don't know how long those two are going to be out for.
3 weeks ago, we were discussing whether or not Jeff Blashill was a Coach of the Year candidate, and now he might be coaching a team that's going to be in last place. St. Louis seems to have figured everything out, so I think they'd be one of those teams that in the Central,
I don't know if they've figured everything out, but they're playing better.
They're playing better as of right now. Oddly enough, Phil, I can only go to beer on this. And it's because not only they're not the only teams having trouble. The Winnipeg Jets are only 1 point ahead of them. Someone explain to me what's going on in Winnipeg. And it's not just Connor Hellebuck has been out, because the Jets, they're another team. You look at them in their last 10, 2-5-3. I mean, you go to the former captain of Chicago over there, which is Jonathan Taves. I mean, he hasn't exactly fit in much with the Jets. You know what? It's not a guarantee with Chicago, but those injuries are not going to help matters. Not in any way. You got to hope Ryan Donato starts earning that money as well. We talked about this before when the guy was trying to troll, saying, oh, if the Rangers do blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, there's one team in the NHL that has scored less goals at home than the New York Rangers. It's the LA Kings. They're 3-5-2 in their last 10, Phil. They've scored 30 goals at home. Well, let's go to the quote real quick. That Molly Walker said, if I'm being honest, I don't feel good about Artemi Panarin staying in New York. I think he could definitely be on the move before the trade deadline. So my question is, the Kings need to trade Artemi Panarin. Sorry, the LA Kings need to trade for Artemi Panarin.
I'm gonna buy a round on this. I think that team wants to try to make one last splash with sorry to quote the Breeders there in Cannonball. But I think with Anze Kopitar, they want to make one last splash. And Kopitar's numbers they've gone downhill. It looks like he is a guy that's on the brink of retirement. 17 points in 31 games is simply not good enough. I know he's 38 going on 39, but you still come to expect more from Anze Kopitar. I mean, their secondary scoring, it hasn't been good enough. Adrian Kempe's got 13 goals in 35 games. He's nowhere close to a 40-goal pace like he's been in other seasons. Kevin Fiala has 23 points in 35 games. That's a guy that's had point-per-game seasons. Quentin Byfield. I mean, we talk a lot about Alexi Lafreniere and the way that, his trajectory's gone. Quentin Byfield has kind of gone in a similar route. I mean, he did 19 points in 34 games. And then you're looking at guys like Joel Armia and Brant Clark and Corey Perry as your secondary and tertiary scoring options. Joel Edmondson has more points than Drew Doughty. And yes, I know Doughty's missed time. But Andre Kuzmenko, 10 points in 30 games. You brought that guy in to be a scorer. Artemi Panarin, I think that, this was what I was literally just about to say. I think there is a coaching change needed, but I think you also need to give that team a shot in the arm offensively. And Artemi Panarin going to another big city where there could be a contingent of players that speak Russian and that are Russian and, the bright lights and the glam, I think that could be appealing to him. And yes, this is a good point. I think the Ducks are a good fit as well. Who coached Artemi Panarin when he first came into the league? Joe Quenneville. I do think that, those two teams could be bidding for his services for all we know in the next upcoming weeks. But yes, I do think that this is a round for me. I think they need a shot in the arm. I think they need to, not just a coaching change, but they need to start bringing in players. If they're serious about trying to make the playoffs and get past the Oilers, then Panarin is a guy that can help them out big time.
Yeah, I think Panarin's a guy that would really change things up a lot in LA. I also think he would do it in Anaheim too. And if you gave him the choice, one more season or a couple months with Kopitar, or you had a couple months with Kreider and Trouba and Ryan Strome, another guy that he loved, and obviously Joe Quenneville, you might choose that situation because Panarin's got the hammer on this. Because the one thing you should do is give a guy a full no trade clause for the entire duration of his deal. And also make specific that he gets to decide where he goes. Yeah, I would move Panarin. I'd move him yesterday if it was up to me. But I think the Kings should go after him. So I gotta agree with you. It's a round. But Filk, this is where you're gonna have several teams that are gonna step up, and Panarin could at least have his choice, and he can figure out where he wants to go, and maybe even win a Stanley Cup. All right, guys, that's the end of Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk. We gauge our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice to drink. So let's get to our next segment, which is the Pick'ems.
I've got a gut feeling.
You want me to do two things?
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Now shoot!
And yeah, welcome back to Big Apple Hockey's Pick'ems, where we just give you two choices, sometimes three, and you got to pick them. There's no hemming or hawing. Just you have to make the selection. And let's start with this one, Phil, because a little bit of an awkward moment. Last week, Leon Draisaitl notched his 1,000th career NHL point, and he did it on the goalie that he did most of them in front of, Stuart Skinner. in the first game between the Oilers and the Penguins. So, Philk, who's been the better player since 2014, Leon Draisaitl or Nathan MacKinnon? And by the way, let me just say, since 2014, we just put the line of demarcation to take out guys like Crosby and Ovechkin, stuff like that. We want to know, since McKinnon came in the league, even though obviously Draisaitl came in a few years after him. So there you go.
Well, yeah, I mean, Draisaitl's debut was the year after. It's tough for me because Draisaitl has 4 50-goal seasons, which I think might tie the most in the league set with Ovechkin since then. Actually, I would have to make sure that that's the case because I think Ovechkin. All right, so since 14-15, but 1, 2, 3, yeah, that does. It ties Ovechkin for the most in that time. But Draisaitl has won a Richard. He's won a Pearson. He's won a Ross. He's won a Hart. He's been incredible. And his Hart Trophy winning year in 2020 was the year that Connor McDavid missed a few games, but Draisaitl was kind of the guy there. But McKinnon lately, over the last few years, I would say has probably been the better player. He won a Hart Trophy. I mean, he's one of the front runners for it right now this year. He's won an Art Ross. Wow, this is tough because you can play recency bias with this and say McKinnon, but you could also take into factor that Leon Draisaitl, honestly, I mean, really after 2015-16 he's actually had the better career overall. Like if you take out that 2014-15 season, and that was a down season for McKinnon too after a Calder winning year in 2013-14. I'm going to have to go Draisaitl. Just on full body of work, Draisaitl has scored at or been at a 100-point pace since 2018-19. Every year. And McKinnon from 2015-16 through and 2017, Draisaitl was probably the better player those 2 years. And 2018 was when McKinnon really kind of took off and he had that 99-point season. He probably should have won the Hart, either him or Kopitar. And Taylor Hall ended up winning it somehow that year because of that 26-game point streak. But I'm going to go Draisaitl.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to go McKinnon. My eye test says Nathan MacKinnon. And you see him, he's just dominating the entire time. Now, granted, both of these guys played with some elite level talent. In McKinnon's case, it was Mikko Rantanen for years, and now Marty Necas, as well as obviously Cale Makar. And you have Leon Draisaitl with Connor McDavid, and to a much lesser extent from Cale Makar as Evan Bouchard said we will about his defense. His offense is still there as a premier defenseman. Now, I'm going Nate MacKinnon just because I think his style is just better. Being number 3 on this list is not that bad of a problem. There's no shame in that. However, because obviously McDavid is number 1. McDavid's the best player since 2014. But Nate MacKinnon, what more can you possibly say about him? He just wills his team, and you even in like that upset to Colorado for Colorado versus Seattle, like Nate MacKinnon was a monster in that game, and they were able just to contain him. Well, speaking about a monster that is hard to contain because now they're starting to knock on the door. But the Florida Panthers, if you don't look now, Phil, they're only 1 point back of the playoffs. and they're 7-2-1 in their last 10, and they're starting to get healthier. So more likely to miss the playoffs, the New Jersey Devils or the Florida Panthers?
I'm going to go with the Devils. And I know that the Devil trolls that have been in the chats will probably be like, oh, you hate the Devils. It has nothing to do with that. It's just, I've been saying this all along from the start of the season. Once Florida gets their guys back, they're going to be a menace. They're absolutely going to be a menace. Who could have seen Brad Marchand turning back time like he was Cher and just absolutely going off without guys like Barkov, without guys like Kachuk. I mean, yeah, they will be back. This is it for me. I do worry about Jack Hughes' health. I think he's a great player. I just think he just cannot stay healthy. He is one hit away from another injury. He's frail. He is what he is. He's incredible, but he cannot stay on the rink. And I mean, thankfully, unlike Peter Forsberg, he doesn't play really the style of game that's conducive to physical play, which further would incur injuries. The foot injury with Forsberg was ridiculous. I don't know how they could have never fixed that over as many years that he had that injury. But Jack Hughes always seems like he's just that one hit away from being on LTIR again. And you know what? At his weight, his size, listen, he's one of the shiftiest players in the league. But if he gets hit, it's kind of like Pat LaFontaine. I see Pat LaFontaine when I watch Jack Hughes. I see a guy that when he's on the ice, you hold your breath because you know that he can do a lot with that puck. But if he gets hit, you are just hoping that he is not going to be out. So, and even if he crashes, even if he doesn't get hit, what if he crashes into the boards awkwardly?
Which is what he's done a lot in his career.
Yeah, can his body sustain that? I don't know at this point. So, this comment here it's kind of accurate. Like it's almost like Stephen King, Thinner or Glass. Like what's going to happen with this guy? So for me, if he's out again, there goes the Devils' season. But Florida, they're going to get their guys back, and they know how to win, and they know how to turn it on. The Florida Panthers remind me of the 2000 Yankees. They are just waiting for their spot, and then they're going to step up, and everybody who slept on them this year is going to look real stupid. You're going to have an energized Tkachuk. You're going to have him energized. You're going to have Barkov back probably around playoff time. I know, Barkov, yada, 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 yada. I get it with the injury. You can't call him a guarantee. Something tells me he's going to be back. All right, just call it a gut feeling. Something tells me he's going to be back. And if he's back, forget about it.
Yeah, and that's why it's going to be the Panthers that are going to make the playoffs. The Devils are going to be more likely to miss out of the two of them.
Oh, and Bill Zito.
Yeah. Bill Zito, and never mind Paul Maurice. Phil, these guys, they developed something 3 years ago, and now they just go, all right, we got our time. When our time comes.
Thanos, buddy.
Yeah.
Not Locust. Thanos.
Well, the end of the world, all that's going to be left is cockroaches and the Florida Panthers because that's them. They could have been finished off by the Toronto Maple Leafs last year, but instead Marchand scores in overtime, and then they win another Stanley Cup. That's where this one's kind of heading, and they're going to start getting healthier as every single day goes on, and they could really upset the apple cart for all these teams that thought, oh, it's going to be our chance here. Still got to go through the Panthers. And I'm starting to feel confident about that Stanley Cup three-peat prediction that I had at the beginning of the year. Speaking about guys that could be off a roster or on a roster, let's look at this one, Phil. Who's more likely to make Team USA, JT Miller or Seth Jones?
Right now with the injury, I'm going to say Seth Jones. I think I'd rather invest in Seth Jones than JT Miller. I don't think JT Miller deserves to be on there right now.
Yep.
I don't. I don't think he's been good enough. And if I'm being honest, and I get that everybody loved that brawl with the Kachuk brothers and JT Miller against Canada, everybody loved that. But if you're leaving Tage Thompson, Jason Robertson, or Clayton Keller off for JT Miller again, you are dooming yourself to the same mistakes that you made at the Four Nations. Mm-hmm. And with better roster construction, they would have won that. Yeah, the McAvoy injury hurt them a lot. McAvoy and Quinn Hughes, but poor roster construction, I think, hurt them more than anything. Chris Kreider didn't deserve to be there. Brock Nelson didn't deserve to be there. Vinny Trocheck didn't deserve to be there. JT Miller, you could have argued that he didn't deserve to be there over those guys. But, you got to start having younger and better players on this team. And even if the ice surface is a little smaller than what they would normally play on in the Olympics, how do you leave those players off?
Mm. And it kind of furthermore with this, who are you putting with Zach Werenski? Right now, why not put Seth Jones right there? Those two played phenomenal together when they were with Columbus. Why not reunite them? Zach Werenski is probably back to being the Norris level defenseman that he was last year. They gave the Cale Makar. I think it was Werenski's year to win it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying Makar didn't deserve it. I'm saying that was one of those years. Sometimes, by my opinion, Makar's won it in years that he did deserve it. And other guys had better years, if you say that, like his first one when Roman Josi was there. But then there are other years where Makar did deserve it and then they give it to him, like the Erik Karlsson year. So I can't help but say you have Seth Jones, who's finally back. He was lost when he was with Chicago. It just wasn't the right fit. He comes to Florida, 5 goals, 15 assists this season. Little bit of a chicken wing the other night on Brendan Hagel, but I would actually think you get Seth Jones back in there, especially if there's no Adam Fox, perhaps. Seth Jones is a guy you could easily just slot right in. But this also, again, like I said before, you could pair him with Werenski, make a very good duo for USA, and then move on from there. Hypothetically speaking, let's say you're going to break up the Toronto Maple Leafs. Phil, who would be the more likely first one to go? Nylander or Austin Matthews?
I think you got to go with Austin Matthews. I think he's younger, and I think in name value, I do think that he could gather more of a return. I think that would send absolute shockwaves if you moved Austin Matthews. 28 years old. I think Nylander is 30 or going to be 30. 13.25 million cap hit. He has a full no movement clause, which is one of the reasons why he probably won't be moved, if anything. But then again, if things keep going the way that they do, that no movement clause could be waived. So he's only got 2 more years. His signing bonuses go down by the year. So it would be an easier fit for a cash conscious team to take on, if you will. But I would have to say Matthews would be the guy that I would try to move first. I think Nylander would probably be the one that you could fit. Yeah, Nylander will be 30 in May. I mean, they both have full no movement clauses. Nylander's cap hit is a little more palatable at 11.5 for what he is, but I think Matthews really is the guy that I would look to move first. I think I would want to send shockwaves and really try to get what you can back for him, because I just think that you know what he is. He may be one of the greatest players in your team's history, but you're not winning with him. You're not. You just, you know it now. It's too big of a sample size. There are too many coaches. There have been too many excuses. Nylander has been the guy that's really stepped up in the playoffs. Look at the playoff numbers. I mean, it's when I watch these guys in the playoffs, the best player in each of their last two playoff runs has been William Nylander. I mean, he had 15 points in 13 games last year, 3 goals in 4 games the year before that, and then in 11 games the year before that, he had 10 points. So I got to go with Matthews.
I got to go with Matthews almost for a different reason. One, you heard Steve Dangle refer to William Nylander this week as being allergic to the puck. Ugh, that's not a good thing. The other thing is, yeah, Matthews commands $13.25 million, but he's only going to command that for 2 more years, and then he's a UFA. So you can actually move on from him, and I think it's easier to move a guy with a high AV and less term than you looking at Nylander, whose contract still has 7 more years on it. And it's just, but there's going to be a lot that that they're going to have to do. Sorry, I had a distraction for a second. But there's a lot that you could do, and Matthews could probably net back somebody and a huge return. You might be thinking about this sooner than later. Let me just check one thing on Austin Matthews, because he's got a no movement clause, but is that a full no movement clause? And yes, I believe it is.
Yeah, both he and Nylander have full no moves.
I mean, I don't see him breaking the glass ceiling with that next contract, which is what I think the thought was after he scored the 69 goals and signed the extension, and it was all right, he's going to be there. He needs somebody that's got to get on the puck, and that's been part of his problem this year. He hasn't looked like himself, so he needs to get on that. And last one for the pick'ems, Phil, more likely to be dealt this offseason, Jason Robertson or Jordan Kyrou?
That's a tough one. Kyrou's name has come up in the rumor mill a lot over these last few years. Robertson's name has been there recently just because Dallas might have some trouble trying to re-sign him as a restricted free agent this offseason. I think I'm going to have to go with Kyrou just because I think Dallas is going to do what they can to keep him there. Like that core, like, yes, Mikko Rantanen is great, and he's been one of their, if not their best player. Robertson is over a point per game right now with 44 points in 37 games, including 23 goals. Rantanen actually has 5 more points and 1 less game played. But, I mean, if Robertson is gone, they can take that cap space and build up with some younger assets that can extend their window. I mean, you're looking at guys like Maverick Bork and Wyatt Johnston stepping in. Wyatt Johnston's over a point per game. I think you have your first line center of the future right there. Tyler Seguin he might have to LTIR retire. Like that might be it with him. And there have been a lot of injuries, and they keep piling up. I mean, Jamie Benn, that contract is now off the books. I think he's at like half of what he was making, if not less. Yeah, he's $1 million. Yeah. So, I mean, that contract is gone finally. He's at $1 million. He's not a big issue, but I mean, really, if you're able to allocate Robertson's money towards other things, or do you get a younger player that's under contract back? Matt Duchene's got 3 more years after this at $4.5 million, and he has a no movement clause. But it's only in full no move through this season and the next, which then converts to a modified 5-team no trade list for the final 2 years of that deal. So, I mean, I know that's looking ahead, but there are things that you can do to allocate money if you want to save cap space if you're Dallas. But you could also get young NHL players back in return for him. That could, help out. That could be under team control. So, but I do think Kyrou is more likely because of the fact that he's been in the rumor mill for years and years now. And there just seems to be an air of unhappiness in St. Louis with a lot of players and with the management. So I wonder if there's a shakeup in the front office, and I wonder if that happens with Jordan Kyrou as well.
Yeah, it's Doug Armstrong that's in St. Louis, right? Yeah, because Bill's in Utah. I don't know if they dump him, so I'd have to say that. Bill, it's tough too. One of the things you mentioned about with Dallas, or didn't mention, is that Thomas Harley's extension kicks in next year. So there's already $6 million coming off the books already. And I don't think they're going to give up Jason Robertson without a fight. But
do they have to? Is the question.
Yeah. If I'm Jason Robinson, I'm looking over to my left and going, hey, Wyatt, you're 4 years younger than me. You're already making $1 million more than me right now. And I got a 100-point season. What about you? So I don't know if he's I don't know if that makes him more or less likely to get dealt. That's where I have the trouble on that for today. We're going to see about that. We'll see about that and see about that very soon. But yes, Jordan Kyrou, it's a matter of who you're going to replace him with. That's the problem that St. Louis has. I think he's one of those guys he always finds his name in the rumor mill, and then you go, all right, we'll hold on to him. I'll tell you what, I didn't hold on to him. I had him in fantasy. I already dropped him from one of my leagues. Because he's just been a shade of what he was. So it would be definitely a buy low candidate right now. All right, guys. That's the end of Big Apple Hockey's Pick'ems. And I guess me and Phil are just going to finish out the show today. So before we do some Q&A, let's do a quick puck doku. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today.
We have time for obscurities, too.
Yeah.
We have time for a lot, actually.
Why isn't my puck? Why is my my puck code didn't come up? But also I misspelled it. It's Doku. There we go. All right. Yeah, we got a pretty good one, I think, right here. I think me and Phil are going to breeze through that top line or one of those lines right there. But you have as your X-axis, you have the Rangers, Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Dallas Stars. Your Y-axis, you have the Florida Panthers, the Philadelphia Flyers, and 20 games in the playoffs in a single postseason. So 20 games in a single postseason.
So
All
that's
right.
someone who's likely made a Stanley Cup final then.
Yeah. Or, I mean, in the Rangers case, 2012, that could be Stu Bickle because he played 20 games. I mean, I believe that was
Yeah, I would
two
put
7-game
Bickle
series
there.
and one game
You
6.
know what? Hold on. He might have gotten. Oh, that's
He
a
might
tough
have.
one because I do think that it might. That might be. No, he didn't. He only played 18.
No, he only played 18. I know, but I was just throwing his name out there just for the sake of doing that. All right. So, Filk, the Florida Panthers and the New York Rangers. Randy Gillen is the one that I'm coming to mind with. What about you?
Igor Ulanov.
Igor Alanov? We'll go with yours. I have a feeling that might be a 1%er. 0.6. We're in good shape. New York Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers. Who do you have for that? I have Michel Petit.
Yeah, you could go with that. I was gonna say that or Rob DeMaio, but you could use him for I think Tampa Bay and Philly as well. So use Petit.
Michel Petit, 0.3%. All right, so you would only use Rob DeMaio for Tampa Bay and Philadelphia?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a Philadelphia Flyer as well, DeMaio. I know he was a Dallas Star. I know he was a Ranger, and I know he was a Tampa. Yeah, he was a Flyer. Yes.
All right, we definitely don't want to use Damon Langkow right here.
That would be too popular.
Okay.
He was a part of a bigger trade in the '90s.
Okay, so Rob DeMaio,
Yeah.
0.7. All right, so we'll go Philadelphia and Dallas Star.
I wonder if Pelly Eklund would be too popular. Brian Prop is going to be way too popular. I know that. Definitely don't use Eric
Dahlin
Lindros.
never played for the Flyers, right?
What?
Ulf Dahlin never played for the Flyers, right?
Ulf Dahlin? No, he never. I don't think he ever played for the Fly. I know he played for the Capitals, the Rangers,
The Sharks.
the Sharks, the North Stars, / Dallas Stars. Dmitry Yushkevich never played for Dallas, right? No, he never
I don't think so.
No, he never played for Dallas.
This guy kind of like on the tip of our tongues that I know that we're missing. Brent
Fedek played for Dallas? Yeah, try Brent Fedek.
Okay.
He was a part of the Crazy Eights line with Philadelphia in '93 when Lindros his first couple of years.
Brent Fedek, 0.7. Here we go.
Nice.
All right, so we need a Florida Panther and a Dallas Star.
I
mean,
Jason
Mayer
is there, but I think that may be more than a 1%er. Kirk Muller fits there, but I'm not sure if he's more than a 1%er. Jeez. Trying to think here. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. Alex Auld didn't play in both, right? Obviously, Tim Thomas.
Alex Auld would be, I think, too popular because I think it's easier for them to remember goalies.
Yeah, that's true.
For Dallas, did he? No. Joe Sorella didn't play for Dallas. Wait, Randy Gillen never played for the Stars, right? No.
Wait, so people would actually remember Alex Auld for one season in Dallas and one season in Florida.
Oh, I got one for the. I got one for this, Mark. Greg Hallgood.
Greg Hallgood. All right, good one.
Yeah, and you could have used him for Philly and Dallas as well.
Hallgood. 0.5.
So a Tampa Bay Lightning and a Florida. Did Jody Hull play for both of those teams? No,
No,
he
he did
didn't.
not.
Florida and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, sorry, just trying to think of a couple of them.
No, yeah, I'm trying to think as well.
Florida and Tampa Bay.
No.
Did Alexander Semenov play on both of them? Oh, sorry, and it's only Semenov, I meant to say.
No, I think he played in
Just the Lightning and the Ducks. Well, and the Flyers. So the Lightning and the Flyers.
Andre Lomakin never played in Tampa, right? No, he played in Florida. I know he played in Florida, but wait, did the other Stefan Richer play for both of them? Yeah, he did. The other Stefan Richer, not the one with the super long career.
Right, the one with the
other
very short career. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get
Steve
to that
Eminger,
one.
that's a good one too. I don't know if he would have played for
0.4%. All right.
this.
So
Is
now
where
we got to get to 20 plus game guys with their respective teams. And for Dallas, I'm thinking Dave Reed.
Try Sean Chambers.
Sean
Chambers
Chambers.
is a name that gets overlooked a lot. I don't know if people are going to remember him as the Lemieux guy.
Sean Chambers, 0.8.
For Tampa, did Gordy Dwyer play in all those games during that run? If he played in all of those games, that would be... No, he wasn't with them. No.
Okay.
I think Chris Dingman would be because I know that he was on Tampa Bay's Cup winning team.
Okay.
He was probably one of the lesser remembered guys because he was a grinder. Maybe more than a 1%er, but I'm not. San Luis, Stillman, Richards, LeCavalier, Modine, Andrić, Fedotenko, those guys, Boyle, too popular. Kubina, too popular. You got to start looking at guys like Timmy Taylor or
Yeah.
Corey Sarich, I think, would be too popular.
What about Andre Waugh?
I think too popular. Try.
How about Nolan Pratt?
Yeah, I was going to say Nolan Pratt or Dmitry Afanasenkov. Try
Okay.
Dmitry Afanasenkov.
Dmitry Afanasenkov? Okay.
Yeah, I think Chris Dingman might.
0.5.
Yep, I figured that would be too.
Now for the New York Rangers, two
I think
names
we
are
gotta
coming
go
to mind
Black
for
Ink
me.
here.
Yeah, two names are coming to mind for me on this one, Phil. Because you have
Jay Wells.
Jay Wells is the one that I was thinking of. But
Okay.
also for the Rangers, Derek Dorsett.
Ooh, that's the debate because it's recency bias there.
Right. So even though the other one would be, what about Shepard?
Ray Shepard?
not Ray Shepard. The guy that
James
was
Shepard.
James Shepard.
See, I wonder about him because they only got to the conference finals, and he was the guy that was at the edge of their lineup.
I'm gonna check that number for you right now.
No, he didn't hit. No, he didn't hit.
He didn't hit.
No, because I remember him being in and out of their lineup in the playoffs.
Oh, because all right, that year the Raiders played 19 games.
Yeah, I was about to say
'cause-
they made it to game 7. So the first round they played Pittsburgh and they won in 5. I was at game 5 when Hagelin won it in overtime. Then they beat Washington in 7 and they lost to Tampa in 7. So that's 19 games. So that's
all
not
right,
good
because
enough anyway.
in 2012, you had they played 20 games, but I guess one guy you could
7,
even say for that, Ruslan
7, 7, and
Fedotenko.
6, yeah.
Yeah, Ruslan Fedotenko would be a guy you could throw with that. Now,
I think he might be a little too popular for a 0%er. I think he might be a more than 1. I think that's like a 2 or 3%er, if you ask me.
okay. Then the other one, you have Jay Wells, you also have Joey Kosar and Greg Gilbert, I would say, for the Stanley Cup team.
I would go with Greg Gilbert. I think he's probably the most obscure.
All right. So there it is. Greg Gilbert, number 17. And he's a 0.5. All right. We have
All
a
right.
unique score 0.
That was the first 0 that we've gotten in quite some time.
Braden Schneider is the lowest one. Andrew Kopp, Artem Anisimov, Ruslan Fedotenko. All right. So Fedotenko would have been good.
All right. Wow.
Down
Okay.
award. Derek Dorsett. All right. So we were on the right track with all these, Phil.
Yes.
As far as Tampa Bay went, there is only you got Killorn. How did Alex Killorn only get 0.9%? Mikhail Sergachev, Daryl Sador, Valtteri Filppula. Really? They're naming all these guys that I can't believe that they're only saying. Oh boy!
So I think the Valtteri Filppula one goes to 2011 when Tampa Bay went to the conference finals.
Yeah,
and they lost to Boston.
Yeah. For Dallas, Neil Wilkinson, Blake Como, Matthias
Oh,
Janmark.
Neil Wilkinson, who was the other guy that got absolutely destroyed with Sean Chambers in that Mario Lemieux goal in 91.
And by the way, the what was the other one we were mentioning?
10-goal season, under 750 games, defenseman. 50. Is this Tom Curvers?
Could be Tom Curvers.
This looks like Tom Curvers.
Pretty sure it is actually.
I think this is Tom Curvers. I really do think this is Tom Curvers. No. Oh no, under 750 games.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So we got the top guy. It's going to be Tom Curvers.
Yeah, this is Tom Curvers.
All right. So for those of you listening at home, we have a 10+ goal season. Under 750 games played. He's got to be a defenseman for the New York Islanders on your second row. 50 assists in the season, and then finish with the Montreal Canadiens as the cherry on top. So a 10-goal season by anyone, Phil. Go ahead.
Mariusz Filkowski. I don't know.
All right. I was actually going to go in honor of him getting fired, Mark Savard.
No, don't. That's a big name, and he just got fired, dude. What are we doing?
Well, I mean, nobody's using it for the first one. We'll go with Mariusz Filkowski. Unique to score 0. All right. Guy has scored 10 goals in a season, under 750 games played in their career.
I would say Corey Millen.
Corey Millen didn't play 750, right?
No.
Okay. Corey Millen. Now a defenseman that has scored 10 goals in a season. And one guy that's coming to mind is Alexander Karpatsev.
I think he might have played more than that, dude.
I actually don't know if he's got the 10. So we'll go even further.
No,
No, he never got the 10 in the season.
He doesn't have 10 in the season, but he was under the mark. Would Mike Van Ryn? I think Mike Van Ryn might have had a 10-goal season. Yeah, Mike Van Ryn fits this. Under
Okay, Mike Van
750 games, a 10-goal season, and a defenseman. Did Mike Van Ryn play for the Islanders? No, he didn't play for the Islanders. No, yeah, you use Mike Van Ryn.
Okay, Mike Van Ryn. Now we need a guy that played for the Islanders under 10 goals in a season. Did Radek Martinez ever pull that off?
I don't think. I think the 10 goals is close.
Yeah, no, he had 6 in the season. That was his max. Whoop.
Jeff Norton played too many games.
Adrian Aucoin had too many games.
Kasparaitis had too many games.
Yeah.
And he never had the 10 goals.
So did Malakov.
Malakov was too much.
Checking on.
Visnovsky played too many games, I think. Yeah.
I got him. We'll think of somebody better, but Jean Potvin.
Okay.
He had 17. He had 17 and 10, 2 years with the Islanders, and he had 613 games played.
I don't think Brian Straight hit 10. I think Scott LaChance also played too many games.
This is another guy I'm thinking of.
Dick Tarnstrom?
Dick Tarnstrom is a good one. What about Uwe Krupp?
I don't think Krupp hit 10 goals. He has 69 in his career.
Krupp had 12 in Buffalo.
Does it have to be with the 10 goals season? Okay. I think Krupp might have played too many games.
Nope. 729.
Go with the way Krupp.
Uwe Krupp?
Yeah, go with Krupp.
Even though he's got a goal that won a Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
We're still at 0. 50 assists in a season and under all those numbers. And played for the New York Islanders. Did
John Potvin have the 50 assists?
That's a good question. I think he might have had the 50 assists. He had 55. So, yeah, there it is.
Go John Potvin there.
Jean Potvin and we're at a unique to score 6 and Tom Curvers at the top.
41.
Unique to score 41. So, yeah, Noah Dobson was your other answer.
Oh, Tom Curvers. Yeah. All right. So we weren't. All right. So who was?
Okay.
Tom Curvers was the only other answer. Yeah. All right. So we were pretty much screwed.
For the other 1%ers and under 1%ers, Krupp, Dick Tarnstrom. So you were right. Mike McEwen, Kevin Haller. I forget Kevin Haller played for the New York Islanders.
Yeah, for a little bit in the early 2000s, I think, maybe.
Yeah. And obviously Brent Sopel will also play there. And Bob Beers. All right. So we're going to cut that out. We're going to move on back to us. And all right. So we're not going to do obscurities today because it's only us two. But let's get hey, Casual Gamer, how we doing? Let's get some questions you guys might have. I started this one earlier because Jay said a trade proposal for you. Lafreniere, Schneider, a first for Kyrou and a depth defenseman and a fourth. I think the Rangers are giving up too much in that situation. Right now, you don't want to deal a first round draft pick in this draft class. That's what we do know. And I would say no first. You could get those two and probably still get that a depth defenseman. It's not like Jordan Kyrou is lighting it up everywhere.
Good year. He is not having a good year. I mean,
No.
36 goals and 70 points last year, which are right near his career numbers. But he is not having a good year this year. I that's a lot to give up for Jordan Kyrou, who is just not having a good year, and he's got a big contract too. Like, oof. He's got a no trade that started this year. Ugh.
How is my team still in last place in fantasy? I have to ask both those questions.
$8.125 million, and he has a 15-team no trade that starts in the final year of the deal. But he has a full no trade. He doesn't have a full no move. He has a full no trade until then. So, I mean, I wonder if he gets moved. I mean, yeah, they could use the 30 goals and scoring touch, but if I'm moving Lafreniere and Schneider to St. Louis, I'm not giving up a first-round pick on top of that for a guy who has an even bigger contract that's producing to the same level that Lafreniere is.
This is the problem that I have, Phil. It's sort of like, imagine if the New York Rangers kept Glenn Anderson after the 94 season. Do you think that they then make that move for Pat Verbeek? And let's say if they did, that situation happens. This is how this locker room has been run. It's very much been like a boys' club. And Vincent Trocheck was friends with everybody, and that's why he fit in almost seamlessly with them. It's that they're like, all right, well, if you're on the outside, you're just staying there. That's where they want you to be. It's like a Mean Girls thing. Like, no, you're going to bring in Jordan Kyrou. Is he going to get the ice time that he needs? Is he going to get the production that he needs? That's why the coaching staff, it's the inmates have been running this asylum for far too long. And now it's time to get the adults back in the room. You listen to us, you shut up. That's exactly where it comes down to. But you're not seeing that enough. So
yeah,
that's why it's like the Rangers aren't one player away, because you still have Panarin that wants his touches. You want Mika Zibanejad that wants his one-timer, oddly enough, where Panarin wants to be as well. The fact that they were able to make this work for so long is a way to commend them. But you have three guys on the power play right now that all want to be in the same spot. That all want to be in that Ovechkin office. Panarin, Zibanejad, and Miller. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. So that's why it's got to go. Now, this is a good question. Is Chris Drury the worst GM now that Kevin Adams is gone?
got to be right there, if not the worst.
He's right there. Now, look, again, you're talking about a guy that was nominated for Executive of the Year back in 21-22, and he wasn't, by the way, in 23-24. And I said nominated, I mean finalist, by the way. No, this is no, he's right there because he's trying to fit a round peg in a square hole, and it's not going to work. I would still say probably right now, for my money, Barry Trotz would be the worst GM. So
okay, so you're going to laugh at this, but then why is he a true needle mover though? Okay,
that's the thing. We're talking about Jordan Kyrou. He's not a game breaker. He's a good player.
Good.
He's not a game breaker.
Is he like? Yeah.
It's not UJE. It's a reality of the situation. And I don't
know why we're going to give up a king's ransom for a guy that's also a risk.
I don't hesitate to say king's ransom too, because it's not like I think if Jordan Kyrou comes to the New York Rangers, he's Alexei Lafreniere, only older. So,
but you're not getting Jason Robertson. You're not getting anywhere close to that. He's a 70-point player.
Yeah.
He is a top 6 player. He is someone that could fit on either your first or your second line.
But again,
but a first-round pick on top of that would absolutely be.
Yeah. That I agree with. You can't give up the first-round pick. Not in this draft. Hell no. Not in this draft.
I'm not giving up any more.
If anything, Rangers. Well, what is Lop? That's a great question.
I'd rather have a younger risk with a smaller contract that you can move for another young change of scenery type player. Why am I moving a young change of scenery type player for a guy that's 3 to 4 years older, is also a risk, and isn't a true needle mover?
Let's not forget something else. Jordan Kyrou makes Mika Zibanejad look like he's got intestinal fortitude. He was rather shaken up because of the way the fans reacted to him specifically from the Craig Berube firing.
Lafreniere is absolutely a change of scenery type player.
Yeah.
That's a player that you're going to have to risk breaking and out and finding it and figuring it out in another city. That's what a change of scenery type player is.
And again, look,
hate to tell you, but
there are guys. We said it to you. We said it before. It's sort of like the JT Miller trade. He was traded to Tampa and then traded again. And when he was traded the second time, that's when it clicked in for him. Now he was traded a third time and he reverted backwards because he's back to being, because
I'm also not giving up a first round. No one's saying to not trade Lafreniere. What we're saying is not trading him for plus Schneider, plus a first round pick, plus anything else on top of that for Jordan Kyrou and a depth defenseman and a 4th round pick. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Okay, so you upgrade over Lafreniere in your top 6. Okay, you still need another true needle mover on top of Kyrou if your plan is to retool.
Joe Graves, wow.
That's obviously a joke.
I know. I know it's a joke, but still. I know. But again, this is the situation that these teams are finding themselves in.
Okay, and then what do you have to trade for that guy? Tell me what you have left to trade for that guy.
Wait, we're talking about acquiring Kyrou,
somebody else that really moves the needle on top of Jordan Kyrou. Tell me what you have left after that.
You're not closer because the Rangers aren't closer.
They're not. It's okay. You got rid of a guy that you think is mentally weak, that you think isn't figuring it out here. It's no one is debating this. You're bringing up things that aren't even being mentioned.
Well, you're right, but that's where we're saying you are right. It's just that we're not debating that part of it.
No one is debating this.
Yeah.
It's that we're debating that Jordan Kyrou is not the answer.
Yeah,
and I like Kyrou as a player. I don't think he's the answer. I think you have to go out and
to make that evaluation
on top of that.
Chris Drury should not be making that evaluation. And again,
please goes without saying. Goes without saying. Stop.
But the question is, could Chris Drury make that evaluation and still at least leave a Callum Ritchie type of prospect for
bingo?
Yeah.
Bingo. This guy gets it.
Yeah. Now, in your opinion, what's a change of scenery type of guy?
Another similar-ish age player that's in another similar situation that needs a change. You know what? I hate to say it, but Owen Power is a name that I look at.
Okay. Because that would change around your defense a lot.
The Rangers need left side defense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know he's a risk. but at least he's a 3-year-old risk.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, I think I would rather take the risk on Power figuring it out at this point than Lafreniere, because Lafreniere clearly has maturity and effort issues and a lack of focus.
I think part of that had to do with the fact
Kyrou
that
is 27. They need to get younger, not older, younger.
And the thing is, again, they need to get younger because you need the guy that's good. He's not a proven scorer anymore. Jordan Kyrou has been down on his scoring as of recently.
You still need to go get some. They need defense too. They need defense. How do you not look at this team and say that they don't need defense?
Kyrou this season, 8 goals and 8 assists. And simply put, that's just not going to get it done.
And it wouldn't even be a rebuild if they traded Lafreniere for Power. Because they're similar aged players. It would just be addressing one series. Yeah, I'm fucking serious. Relax over there, Tonto. Shit, calm yourself down.
Yeah. Everything's all right. Nobody's making any personal attacks. But
yeah, defense does cost them games. Do you not see the brain farts?
But you're not going to rebuild the defense with one depth defenseman. I mean, there's nobody. They're not one trade away. That's not going to happen.
No,
and they're going to have to be several.
If you go and you get Kyrou, you have to go get another needle mover on top of that. You have to, because he's not the guy. He is a secondary scoring guy that fits in the right situation. And giving up a lot for that, or giving up multiple assets for that, even if you want to say it's not a lot, okay, fine. You don't want to think it's a lot? Okay, fine. I agree to a point. But why are we giving up multiple assets for a guy that is not a true needle mover?
Well, yeah,
that you're going to have to go get another player on top of that to really go get everything figured out. And especially one that's older. I'm focusing on Robertson, if that's the case. Whether or not Dallas would take Lafreniere back in return for that, it's another story. And yeah, that's an argument to be had. But I mean, that's the guy that I would focus on if I'm going to move Lafreniere. And if I'm not going to be able to get Robertson for him, I'd rather take my chance with Power than Kyrou. Because you're giving up assets to go get a guy like Kyrou, and then you're going to have to give up more that you don't have afterwards. So who are you giving up afterwards? Gabe Perreault?
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't. You hold on to them and rebuild.
Yeah, that's the thing. This isn't, and again, we keep trying to get at. We keep trying to get at this, and we're going to be going for another 5 more minutes at most, guys. But this isn't going to be a quick fix. It's not. And the first person that needs to know that is Jim Dolan, because there is just not going to be there.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, last year of his deal, so he's likely gone by the deadline. But I think it would be a massive mistake to turn around and take those assets. And listen, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, because apparently, from what we've seen, if they're really involved, if they were really, really involved in those Quinn Hughes talks, that tells you that they're trying to make some sort of swing. That Pagnotta is not just spitballing or no. I don't think, listen, I'm not saying that they are going to rebuild, but flipping those picks and those assets for a win now type player when they are nowhere near that is just stupid.
Again, that's, and Brian's right about this. Right now, the Rangers are in Sharks territory. They're nearing that. I mean, that was one of the worst. They need to take the losses and just move on. Look, the last time they were in this situation where they were a floundering team approaching the Winter Classic, they then won the Winter
Robertson is
Classic.
the only one, and there's no guarantee that he's even going anywhere. Like we're literally placating right now and trying to prognosticate and say that, oh, Robertson's going to be available. You know what happened the last time every Ranger fan did that? Every big name unrestricted free agent for this class, outside of Artemi Panarin, funny enough, ended up re-signing with their teams.
Exactly. Exactly. And the best part is there's going to be the people that are going to say, oh, they should re-sign Panarin. Based on what? They've won 4 playoff series in the years that he's been here. And the deeper the run was, the more invisible he became. And that was even after me trying to be more of a Panarin apologist and defender.
We have that Igor contract was the worst thing that could have happened to him.
Yeah, that Igor contract really hamstrung him, and now you're basically you got this idea, you got this goalie behind you that you can do anything you want, but they're not taking risks, they're not doing anything. James is saying right here the Rangers never going to rebuild because they can't. Now they have to move off Mika, Miller, and Igor, and
you can't move off of Igor unless he waives. And I don't think anybody's going to want to take him at $11.5 million.
The biggest misnomer is that fans don't want to embrace a rebuild. That is such a lie.
That's not the first person you trade. That would be the guy that could get you the most. But that would be the first person you trade.
No. And because you got to say the Millers now. I think Miller's got a no trade move anyway, so he's pretty much locked in. Mika's got a full no move. He's locked in until 29-30. I mean, this is why you got to be careful handing out these contracts, especially when the guys that you got aren't exactly going to be. And by the way, Dario, going back to a question that was earlier said, McDonough was a good captain, not a great captain. He was a good captain, especially for the room full of veterans. But Brian Callahan was the last real good captain for the New York Rangers. And he led by example.
Yeah, but he was a guy that really didn't step it up come playoff time.
Right, but he didn't make himself bigger than the room.
No, he didn't, but neither did McDonough.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And McDonough played great hockey come playoff time.
Yeah.
I mean, that 2014 run was the best run we've seen of any Rangers defenseman since Brian Leetch to that point.
And by the way, a lot of people, Filk, underrate McDonough having that shoulder not take treatment in the 2015 Game 7.
No, it wasn't the shoulder, it was the foot.
Oh, that was what I meant to say.
It was the foot. Yeah, he was playing on a broken foot the whole series.
So, yeah, I can only imagine what that was like.
No, it was 2014 that he was phenomenal. 2015 was when he was hurt. He was playing on the broken foot.
Still really good, though.
He was still very good, but 2014, he had like, I think almost 20 points in that playoff run. And he was just playing at like a Norris caliber level of defense throughout that run. And then it was the 2015 run that he was hurt.
Yeah.
And the 2014 season was even his season. He had more points. He had a lot more points in 2014 than he did in 2015. And he was playing. I think he finished top 10 in Norris voting in 2014.
Yeah, I want to say he cracked the top 10. I think in that year, I think you want to say he got to 5.
8. It was 8. He had 43 points in 77 games with 14 goals, which were all career highs. And he finished 8th in Norris voting. The next year, he had played 71 games, 33 because he got hit too with a slap shot that ended up injuring him. He was the guy who sticked Lundqvist, and then he was the guy that I believe hit Zuccarello in the head.
That's not a great track record for the guy who is very much a champion, because I don't think Tampa Bay wins one cup without him. But that's obvious.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, would I love Jason Robertson? Yeah, especially if they're looking to make a big swing and retool. But I just don't think you can sit there and hinge your plan on that, especially on one guy.
How about this? Abandon your assets, because they don't have any. Remake the team and remake them from the ground up. This is such trying to just justify it by bringing in veterans that did not work out in your organization but worked out elsewhere.
Really? Is this because I said something about disposable heroes the other day? You're going to do this to me and give me PTSD?
Wow. All right.
Really, guy?
Plain anger. Anyway, but
or snare drum, more like the lyrics on that album.
Oh, the lyrics on that.
You're asking for it.
Yeah, they're just that's a rough one. All right, guys, thanks very much for joining us in this pre-Christmas episode. It's been a great time as usual. Look for more of our clips and more shorts. Try to hype us up whenever you can and get us out there, because we can provide for you more quality content. Although, after all, we were referred to as the worst ever podcasters ever because we weren't licking the taints of the New York Rangers today.
No, I think it was the Devils that they were trolling on.
Oh no, he said we're the worst ones.
The Devils in the Twitter post, the Devils trolls come in, and that's when that happens.
Yeah, well, again, trying to tell me that the Rangers are going to make the playoffs. Good, fine, they make the playoffs. Good. Now what? This team ain't doing anything once it gets to playoff time. All right. But again, for all you out there that are going to celebrate Christmas this week, Merry Christmas. And also, if you're not, enjoy Chinese food on Thursday. And Phil, go ahead. Just take the last thoughts, because I don't have any left.
Yeah. It should be interesting to see what happens coming out of the trade freeze, because I think there's definitely a rumor mill that's starting to heat up. And with empty netters, what they said about Panarin the other day, you got to wonder if maybe they start talking to him.
Yeah, and I also think that the first trade deadline is going to be the pre-Olympic one.
Yeah, someone said that in the chat before. I can't remember who, but someone did say that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be more active, because you want to dump that guy because you don't have any control over him in the Olympics. And you don't want a John Tavares situation where Tavares injured his ACL in 2014.
Yeah.
And basically Thomas Vanek was like, I'm out of here.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember who it was. It was earlier on in the stream, but yeah.
All right.
I definitely, yeah, and that's a good point. I think teams will want to get those deals done beforehand, because if an injury like that should occur, God forbid it does, Rasmus Anderson would be another one. Yeah, he could be somebody that could be on the move beforehand.
Yeah, I don't think well, they've been saying him to the lease for a while, so God only knows. All right, guys, everybody, thank you very much. Have a great holiday. We will see you just before the Winter Classic next week. Talk to you later.